Hello, heroes. Welcome back to Heroes of the Horn. As I was kind of talking to you a little bit about this, just because I was like, man, so shocked. By the way,
Right.
I have some renewed faith in Rafe Judkins.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, I feel good. I actually feel really good about this. Okay,
Okay.
because we've talked a lot about his like adaptation, and we've also Wheel of Time. We've
Yeah.
also talked about like his experience or inexperience as like a screenwriter or whatever.
Is light going out in Survivor? Yeah.
Like going out. He was right. He started out as a Survivor contestant. So
Yeah.
when Wheel of Time was originally being sort of like announced and everything, and we're like, who's this guy doing? I don't know. It's hard to actually view his movie credits. So I did not know, mainly because I haven't looked at his like Wikipedia since before Wheel of Time was coming out.
Right.
But and I did not see this movie in theaters, but I was waiting for it to the streaming service because I very much enjoyed the video games. I mean, to be honest, the video games are some of the best video games ever made all time. I did not know that he was the screenwriter, did the whole like screenwriting for the Uncharted movie, which is based off the Uncharted video games, which is
Wow.
big Sony franchise on
Mhm.
PlayStation, which also now tells me 100% that the Wheel of Time show is way more Sony involved than Amazon, because we've always been kind of like confused by the marketing of this show. We're like,
Yeah.
how is it that all these other shows like The Boys and some of these other Amazon things feels like the marketing are just like on totally different levels, like something's going on here.
Yeah.
So now it tells me, well, it's probably way more Sony handled than Amazon
Yeah.
handled, because sometimes you just see that, oh, it's a collaboration, but you don't really know until you like
Yeah. Who's got more?
collaboration actually has more
Right.
power
Right.
in it.
Right.
So nonetheless, I was so shocked when I saw at the end of that movie that Rafe had written it, and I was like, wow, here he is adapting. I think there's about 6 Uncharted games.
Okay.
And so the story is, it kind of bounces around a little bit too. But man, I watched that movie and I was just I
You like
I really enjoyed it. It's probably the best video game movie adaptation ever, because a lot of video game movies, unfortunately, have not really ever been that good.
Yeah.
Like in all honesty, Mortal Kombat, the first one, is probably the best, or
Yeah.
was the best. I mean,
What? Yeah.
we watched that more
Oh
recent
my
Mortal
God.
Kombat movie, and that's kind of a
Oh
train
yeah.
wreck. It
Yeah.
was bad. It was
Yeah.
bad, and even stuff like the Assassin's Creed movie, and
Right.
the
Right.
Street. Don't get me started on the Street Fighter movie. Oh, so
Right.
bad. But yeah, so this Uncharted movie, it has Tom Holland, has Mark Wahlberg,
Those
and
are big. Yeah. Big names. Yeah.
yeah, big names. And so, man, it's definitely sort of an odd adaptation of the games, because Tom Holland feels still like he's like 17.
Yeah.
And the character Nathan Drake, it's kind of, for those of you guys who don't know anything about it, it's kind of this sort of Indiana Jones type. Tomb
Yeah.
Raider is what it's ultimately sort of like inspired by. National Treasure. You're hunting down these ancient
Right.
mysteries and stuff like ancient, lost treasure and things like
Yeah.
that. And it's sort of like a buddy thing,
Right.
too. But the character in the video games, Nathan Drake, who Tom Holland is portraying, is really supposed to be like in his like, I don't know, mid 30s. And it
Oh,
feels
okay.
like, so that was definitely kind of like a weird
Cast.
thing.
Yeah.
Right. A sort of a weird casting. But they took actually story from like Uncharted 4, which takes place like at the end of the series, and sort of brought it forward in terms of this middle, and sort of made it like the beginning story of this whole
Right.
of this whole thing, but then used cool elements from other scenes throughout the game series, and
Yeah.
it did well enough. It's going to get a sequel, and they want to do a handful of movies with it.
Yeah.
So what I'm ultimately trying to get to here is I feel a little restored with Rafe, because I saw that, I was like really surprised, and it got my head spinning, about the Wheel of
Mhm.
Time, because in this movie, the Uncharted movie, he takes like some big set pieces and moments that happen in like Uncharted 1, 2, and 3, and but then combine it in this movie.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's kind of what's going to have to happen in Wheel of Time, is you're
For
going to
sure.
have to begin to pull a lot of these big moments
Right.
throughout the series, which we've talked about several times, and sort of mix and match and do that, which to me is now leading me to believe, hey, as we've seen some more of these trailers for Wheel of Time season 2, we've talked about the end of this being Great Hunt, Dragon Reborn, or combined. I'm thinking so. And I think we could also see a lot more of these big moments happen in sort of different places. So in the Uncharted movie, one of the things that happens is there's this cool scene where they're fighting inside this airplane, right? It's like a cargo airplane or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And what ends up happening is the door opens and there's like all these bad guys and they're fighting. And so all this like, big stuff gets shot out of this plane or whatever. And so the character, Nathan Drake, Tom Holland is portraying the character Nathan Drake. He ends up like falling out. And so they're like falling in the sky and he's like got to grab onto this sort of like cargo, that's got like a parachute or whatever and sort of fight some guys. And it's a really cool action sequence. But say it takes place in, say, Uncharted 3, even though it's kind of the story of like Uncharted 4 and stuff like that. So it's like, if this is the kind of writer Rafe is, I think we're definitely going to see a lot more stuff that like it's a big scene that happens. It's going to take place in a different spot with a different thing. And I don't know. I just I feel more enthusiastic now about the direction the series is going to be going.
Yeah, no, I love this. This is encouraging to me because, as you said, you're not watching. You watched it and you were just like, okay, I'm a fan of the video game, and you're watching it, and at the end, you're like, huh?
When the credits roll, at the credits roll, I was like, wait, what? Like,
right, exactly. So that is highly encouraging. Because again, like you said, when he first started out, I actually was season 1. Other than the final episode, I really thought they did a good job. I know people are going to cry blasphemy on any change whatsoever, and those people can just take a backseat because I'm sorry, but like, again, they're offered a budget. They are essentially told, hey, you have 5. Let's say they say, look, you're not even guaranteed a 9 seasons to tell this, or 8 or whatever. You just have this one, and you have to do number 1 to get number 2. And then we're going to greenlight number 3, right? But he has to sort of have like, okay, maybe they're going to give me 5 seasons and I'm going to work from that and see what we do. You're adapting something. It's different. It has to change. There are way too many characters. It's wild. So I'm about to do something kind of some blasphemy here. Okay. Because I'm about to share something like Matt's not going to know who this character is, although he has heard of this character. But I'm going to show everyone something. So for our Wheel of Time listeners and for our veteran readers, there's a fan casting going around. And there's major rumor that season 3 is going to bring in a character that Matt does not show up until well beyond the point where we are at. And you don't even I think knowing her name is not going to hurt anything whatsoever. Right. Okay. You're just going to know that a big character is on.
Well, I think I know the character you're talking about, but I don't know what happens with her yet. Yeah.
Right. And so I don't think this is going to be a problem.
Cad Swain.
Yeah. So you have this, people are fan casting. And I forget her name, but she is, I can't even, I'm so sorry. Cause I wish I could, her name is here on the screen. You guys can see if you're over on YouTube. I have her Twitter account pulled up here, but she's in The Expanse and she's been in a couple different things and she's like being fan cast as Cad Swain. So it's a piece that is way later in the series. Now this is again, fan speculation and stuff like this, but there are a lot of different, I don't know, like rumors and things kind of coming up where people are like, they could be moving a set piece the way far down the line, like get through 3 seasons with Moraine and then bring in this character to carry us through the final couple seasons or whatever. And it's going to be really, it's just really interesting. And so I thought this was kind of cool. And I wanted to share it because you had said that they brought something from the 4th video, like moving pieces around because you have to adapt it. And so I'm like, okay, let's do this. Is Errol Burgess, by the way, who by the way did a bunch of Wheel of Time art way back in the day. And you can see, I mean, you could just see the number of tweets where it's pretty emotional, humbled by the overwhelming support from all of you, the discussions on Twitter and YouTube about this her portraying Cad Swain. The fact that she's sharing this and the fact that she pinned this up here on her, let me see here. Yeah, I love your sense of humor. I mean, the actress is pinning this.
What is her name? Oh, how do you even pronounce that?
Yeah, I'm so
Shura. I have no idea.
I'm sorry. I will look it up, and I totally apologize before because I just wanted to. She plays. She has listed here kind of just her different. She's been on The Expanse, and that's what she's known for playing. that character there. So I've only watched a little bit of The Expanse. Need to finish it. Need to get caught up on it. But it was just so cool to see her pin this here and say, "What's all these suggestions about me playing, a character in Wheel of Time?" I don't know. She's having fun with it. She's sort of playing around with this idea. I think it's super interesting that this is a thing. So anyway, I wanted to mention that because Rafe might be doing some stuff like this. He might really be taking some stuff from later on and saying, "I got to make the best show that I can here," and we're talking TV. So right. You can no longer say like, "Well, it doesn't match up to the books, therefore it's not good." No, it's just got to be good TV. All those that small minority of people who are going to be book griping, I'm sorry, they're not trying to get you guys. They already got you to watch it. You know what I mean? They already got the book people to watch the show. They're trying to expand the audience, and that's great for the books as well. So
right, and I'm still always said I'm willing to give every show 2 seasons because there's a lot of shows where you go back and watch the first season and you're like, what is this? Even shows that turned out to be some of the biggest in history. Like, go watch The Office season 1 and go watch The Office season 2, and night and day they're different. I mean, the feel, everything totally different. Right. Like The Office season 1 feels like it's on a shoestring budget, and like the characters, like Michael Scott's hair is like slick back, and like they obviously, then you get to view that fan feedback and change it. Also, we've said it before, season 1 of this show, I'm also willing to give a little bit of a pass just because an actor flat out leave. It was filmed during like COVID when everybody thought the world was ending. And so, we have to sort of see, how that all plays out and everything. And we've already seen some of the production stuff for season 2 and it looks bigger and better. So, we just have to go forward. But I will say, just on that, I do feel a little more restored in my faith of Rafe. Now that I've seen another thing that he's done, I'm like, oh, this is pretty good. So I'm definitely excited there.